Circle the people.
Have a seat at the head of the table.
Head of table.
Okay, I think we are live and in person.
Good. So, I'll call the meeting to order, and the first item on here is agenda approval. So I need a motion to approve our agenda, which is short and sweet. I have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. May I have a second? All in favor of accepting the agenda for today's meeting as presented? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very, very much. So, I went over the minutes, online, and I didn't see anything that caught my eye. Did anybody else see anything that was an issue on the minutes? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented then?
So moved.
Another second? All in favor?
Who's the second?
Pete.
Shuggy?
Mr.
Quiet
Shawn.
guy at the corner.
Mr. Shawn.
Sean it is.
All right, so we've got members of the public here, and it's your turn.
All right. I'm Jim Hickey, this is Nick Hickey, I'm the Vice President of the Optimist, and Nick is the President of the Optimist. And we just want to just make a statement as far as the Optimist, make sure everybody knows what we are and who we are. Anyway, I'll just read most of this, I may talk a little bit, but
Please feel
then if
free.
you have any questions, you can ask. Brief history of our Optimist. It was formed in 1966, and because there was a need for a 7th grade football program after the school district removed it, and the Optimist formed and created Optimist football. It remained an Optimist program, teaching the fundamentals of football to future players for high schools throughout the county for over 50 years. The club progressed into a club whose motto is Friends of Youth. So we orient all of our funding and everything goes right back into the youth in LeGrand. And this was done mostly through the football program. And but when the programs were cut at school, the Optimists always stepped up and funded different sporting programs for the school district. They cut some, I think they cut some football and stuff out of, and couldn't pay, and so we stepped in and helped with doing that. We branched out as Friends of Youth, and we sponsored or co-sponsored and supported the youth in the community through various functions. And I just want to go through some of those functions that we do. We do a fishing derby up at Morgan Lake. It's a free derby. It was started in the 1980s, and we've been doing that every year since, except for during the COVID. And at this point, we have poles that we loan out to kids, and Bimark helps put that derby on. We have a Boy Scout troop. It's actually a Cub Scout troop through the Boy Scouts that we sponsor, and we sponsor the high school mock trial club, the high school choir. We helped build the Optimist field and the other fields, and helped purchase equipment down at the Pioneer Park. We donated the Optimist equipment. All our football equipment went to the city parks for the football program. When we no longer had enough help to do it, the city was gracious enough to take that over for it. And we really thank Stu for doing that. We sponsor Little League teams. We sponsored Babe Ruth when they had Babe Ruth. And we purchased new championship signs this year down at the field. so all the signs look uniform. And then we've helped at the Riverside Playground renovation. We donated money to purchase a pitching mound for the LeGrand Little League, and donated to UC Lightning softball, to the high school track. We have a shoe policy. I don't know, that's, not very many people know about that, but they used to. But we have a shoe policy for any kid that's in sports that can't afford to buy shoes. We help purchase shoes for them.
Or girl in dance, or
Yeah, any of that. We helped, we gave money to the Fiddle Club and the Youth Arts Program. We're LHS Booster, the American Legion, the volleyball, baseball, softball, middle school wrestling, and the LeGrand Mat Club. LHS senior, last year and this year we both were donating to the senior
grad party.
grad party for
The
the
drug and
9
alcohol free.
Yes. And we donated to Kate's Cancer's donation. All this is done through proceeds from selling concessions down at Pioneer Park, and also concessions up at the high school. We do the high school football games with our trailer pull it up there. And all of these, the monies that we donated, each one that we've donated averaged between $800 to $1,000. And we felt that was pretty good. This is one of our biggest years of donation, all because we were able to do concessions. And that all started when Nick became president. He's turned our concession stands into a viable community support network where the Optimus Club is able to donate last year roughly $24,000 back into the community. And we're pretty proud of that. These funds are all, we feel these funds are in jeopardy right now a little bit because other clubs can come in, or other groups can come in and bring in vendors down here at the park, and any money that goes to a vendor isn't going to be going back into to the youth programs. So what we're kind of asking is for you guys to consider doing, giving Optimus first rights on concessions. If we can't do it, then they can bring in whoever. Anyway, that's kind of what we'd like to see happen at all the sporting events at Pioneer Park. We don't want to do, we just want to do the sporting events, mainly baseball and things that the park was made for, the fields were made for. And there has been a past practice of the Optimus, and years ago when I was president before, in the 90s and 80s, we did have first rights to concessions down here. And that, when the lease came up in, I think it must have been around 99 or 2000, somewhere in there, that lease never did get renewed. But we did at one time have a lease. And there has been a past practice also of the Optimus Club making agreements with different vendors down at the park, such as Don McCabe with the East Side ran the concessions at the concession stand for a while. LeGrand Babe Ruth, back when Babe Ruth had it, and Becky's Burger as recent as last year. All of these had agreements with the Optimus to split their proceeds from the concessions that they sell down in the park. The Optimus has always been good partners. We've worked real well with other organizations, and we plan to continue to do that regardless of what happens in the future. With that, if you guys have any questions or anything, we're more than happy to answer anything. We know that hands get tied, decisions are made in different levels, and I don't know if you guys have that ability to do it, but if you do, or if you have some influence to help us out with that, we wanna continue to give back to the youth in LeGrand, and I think it's great what's going on over at the park. You guys do really good work. The parks, they're probably one of the nicest parks around. When you put together all the different ones that you guys work on and the amount of work that goes into them, we definitely appreciate it, and I wanna thank you guys.
Yeah, you're more than welcome.
Okay.
Okay, so commissioners, does anybody have
I
questions or
have a
responses?
question. So
Yeah.
if we were to give you what you're asking for, how many more times would you be running the concession stand than you are right now, like roughly?
I don't know, it depends on what, comes in. We're at a lot of the tournaments that they do. In the past, we've done, we came down and opened, for, soccer, because soccer asked us to open, and we didn't actually know they even were doing it. And, then they had brought in a vendor. The year before, there wasn't a vendor in here, and we brought in $1,000. Last year, they brought in a vendor, and we made,
Like $500 or $600.
about $500. And so you.
Which it seems like a lot, but when the people running it are volunteers, they're taking time out of their life to be down there to do that, to make the money for the kids. That's a lot of money we're missing out on.
So so we would do, and the other thing that this would do, there's a really poor communication with, clubs, with the Optimist to let us know when things are going on. We could have been down for the football tournaments, last year, when you guys did your jamboree, and, I can't remember, I think I was driving by, and it looked like there was hundreds of people down here, and we missed out on that. So the other part of this would be, people being directed to us, and we go, oh, we didn't know there was something going on. So I think we could see a couple more, opportunities for us if we had that.
So, I think I can speak for the entire Parks Department and the commission that we recognize what the Optimists do, and we really, really appreciate it. That new concession stand going in, we know that you guys put a ton of money and labor into that, and I think that everything that you do is recognized, and it's like you're reading a list, and it's like I've only been in this commission for a couple of 3 years, but yeah, I remember 3 of those things right now, boom, 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 Optimists. So we recognize your service to the community, and we really, really appreciate it. But you use the phrase "hands are tied," and
Yeah, we understand that.
I think that we can probably try to integrate better communication between Parks and Rec and being aware of any significant events that you might not be aware of, and facilitate that, and make sure that you're in the loop.
That would be huge.
Yeah. So,
Well, it's like we just realized that we're doing, Moonlight Tournament. You guys have got advertised for the Moonlight Tournament. And
If we get enough teams.
yeah, we didn't realize it until, a couple people asked us, and, well, I don't know. So I went on and saw in the parks that, yeah, there is gonna be a Moonlight Tournament if you get enough teams.
so as much as we can, we want you to make more money.
Yeah.
But I think that the I don't know whether it's an ordinance or a policy passed by city council,
Yeah.
but they've got a setup,
Right.
and we can't change it. We can't
Right.
make a decision as commissioners
No.
to override what city council does.
Yeah, we're learning more as we go too.
Yeah.
Almost everything was always on a handshake. handshake years ago, so
Yeah.
we're learning.
Yeah, and that's kinda why we thought about this, is get something solidified. That way, there's no question about anything, but yeah. So we'll have to just go through the proper channels eventually.
Sure,
Yeah.
and
So
that's entirely fine.
Just so I can add to just close the loop on this, so the handshake deal is still in place in a way, because we don't have a contract for you to run the concession.
Right.
We just do that based on the participation in the past, right?
Right.
It's a Park City building, but ultimately, there's no lease or, like you talked about a lease that expired.
Yeah,
Ever since then, I think it's been a handshake deal. When I got this job, I met with Optimus Club probably on day 2, or yeah, pretty sure, because it's memorable. Because there was a lot of passion with this group,
Yeah.
and it's really great. And I think the community recognizes the contributions, and that's partially why the city doesn't require any payment or lease agreement to operate that concession stand.
Correct.
So I think that's a huge partnership piece that's still a handshake deal. The other piece is for all the events throughout the year, unless it has a special event application or permit, then they should be operating. The special events like Farmers Market and
yeah.
Casa Carnival and other special Little League tournament, whatever it is, if they have a special event permit, then not by ordinance, by city policy, then the permittee manages the concessions and the park activities. And I think I sent you guys a memo that said sometimes we will require them to order extra restaurants, we'll require them to order extra dumpsters. Sometimes we'll require them to do different logistical things that make sense for us in parks maintenance. But I don't have any desire of managing farmers market vendors or any other vendors for any other events.
Right.
So the reason that the request for this won't work is because of the special event requirement. However, the rest of the year, when there's no permits, it's just baseball games or football games or the moonlight or the whatever. Then David's right. The communication can be improved. But that's something that's your spot. That's the handshake part of it.
Right.
So I just wanted everybody to be clear about
But
how
what
that
about-
works.
What if someone else wants to come in to bring their hot dog truck?
For a non-special event,
Sure,
for a
Friday,
league- regular league
Saturdays on
game?
Saturdays.
they're not allowed to. They have exclusive rights to those, and that's part of the handshake deal.
Yeah.
That's not a right.
So that's what I think should be put in,
A lease
some
agreement, reinstate a
agreement.
lease agreement.
so that when Joe wants to bring his hot dog truck in, we can point to an agreement and not a
Yeah.
handshake.
So that's something you guys can consider. That's something we can add to the future agenda.
Okay, so then what you mean, I'm just gonna restate it, is formalizing their exclusive use during non-special events,
Correct.
games,
Yeah, I
et
think-
cetera.
So we have something to point to.
So if another vendor wants to come in because they see we're down there making money, yeah, okay.
Say, the city says you.
But it
can do
also
that.
just right of first refusals, cause if there's a bike event, which is a long ways away from the concession, you might wanna bring in a vendor,
Right.
so you'd have to check with them.
We do have a trailer too.
But that's,
Okay, then the trailer can, yeah.
we're really focused on Pioneer Park now,
Yeah,
on Pioneer
Oh,
Park
yeah.
events, not
Yeah,
yeah.
at Riverside, like if you guys
But
get the jump track,
Well,
that's another
It actually
thing.
makes sense for the building. The rest of it is harder because the mobile trailer.
Yeah.
I don't know how we could do a lease agreement for a park, right? It would have to be that building, I think, to make it work.
Yeah, no, I was just,
Yeah.
yeah.
We got a
That's
trailer.
right.
Right.
We can go anywhere.
I mean, sure, we should encourage
Yeah.
people to call you and say, hey, they have a trailer too. They can move it anywhere in the
Right.
park or over to Riverside, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that the lease part would be for the building.
That's something I was thinking for these special events. Do we, or does the Parks Department let people know about their services that they offer?
Yeah.
And like, at
Yeah,
least
for the
inform
events
them,
here,
like,
yeah.
this is someone you should be talking to?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure we can.
Usually special events don't take place at Pioneer Park. Most of them are at Max Square and Riverside.
Or Bernie for.
Or Bernie Park's got a big one every year. So this park is busy for regular season stuff, but not a lot of special events for whatever reason.
but we could, if we had a tourism department or that really push like an ultimate tournament, ultimate frisbee tournament or something, it could be
Yeah.
better utilized.
Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate everything that you guys do.
The feeling is mutual.
Could I make a quick inquiry / suggestion?
Yeah.
I coach the high school girls team, and we play evening games. And the last handful of games we played, especially through state playoffs, we had close to a couple hundred people there.
Right. Was that here?
That's at EAU.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well,
I talked to Angie.
Angie's been talking to us.
She's,
Well, you gotta remember that the food service up there has their rights to, those games, but they're not
She
being-
said the last 2 years they haven't been doing it, so.
Well,
she-
I'm
I gave her
talking
a
about
call.
high school.
Right. Oh, like when
But
we do
My
football.
high
if
school
it's
girls
on
game.
EOU
You can't,
campus,
it's
Yeah.
a state prohibited.
I'm just like, if you're going
Yeah.
up there for football games,
you can
Yeah.
park across the street.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, I'm just saying.
because we.
Well, I'm in contact with Angie now, so I'll ask her about
I
that.
would,
What
I
high
would loop
school-
in. I would loop in Darren,
What high
Darren.
school games are you talking about?
the girls' soccer games.
Oh, soccer.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
second in state last year, so
Yeah.
they're really popular
Yeah,
games.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
I play soccer.
we host.
But
we-
that's through the
I would.
high school,
I
right?
would. Yes. I would talk
So
to
we-
Darren and
yeah.
Angie because we also. I started an event called a sellout game where we try to pack the stands with people. And
Right.
last year we make it against Pendleton because they're our rival.
Are you
That's
you're
right.
coaching the girls?
Uh-huh.
Awesome. I coached the high school in the 90s. Boys.
We our last semifinal game we had close to 200 people there.
Yeah.
Girls couldn't even hear me yelling at them. So
No, absolutely.
And what we do with the track is we have them help us. So we have parents that come in and help us during the track meets.
Yeah.
And then that takes pressure off of us. So we could probably work something like that out with
Yep.
you.
and
guys.
I'm not sure that but once we get into late games in October and we're playing at 6 o'clock at night, people like a warm drink
Yeah.
or something hot. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
throwing that out there.
Do you guys support the EOU baseball? I mean,
You
They
know,
have asked us in the past to do games. I just don't have the bodies to do
So-
all their
so what
games.
we
So
did-
we got Becky's Burger Wagon to come down and she would donate, she signed a contract with us and donated 10% of her gross to us.
is that all right?
Yeah, no, that's not a special event. So
Yeah, no.
That's sort of your,
Okay.
that's part of the handshake thing that we'd have
That's
to,
Right.
we'd have to codify.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay. All right.
Well, thanks very, very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming
Yeah,
down.
for
You're
listening.
welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but we're gonna proceed along.
Well, Nick's gotta go eat, he said. so-
And I gotta go to a 50-year.
I don't have diabetes yet. About 15 minutes.
Thank you guys.
Go ahead,
Thank
buddy.
you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. All right, so, next on our agenda, old business. Then are any of us unaware of what's going on over Riverside?
I don't know. I'll let Mark take some of this, but let's see, playground came out Monday the 28th. Took about 6 hours. It was gone and hauled off. And then there was a mountain of bark chips and debris sitting there. And then Sean blew it because that could have been the bike park, but whatever. So then, I mean, it was like 20 feet tall.
Yeah.
But no, couldn't bring a truck over.
But no. And then day 2, Public Works came and cleaned it up, and it was no longer a bike park. And then day 3, OTEC and Public Works worked together to drill the footing holes for the next 2 days. And then
Hit a water line on the first hole.
but it was dead.
But I
We
just,
didn't hit any live lines.
Oh.
Yeah, we haven't broken anything.
Which
yet.
is amazing considering there was 200 holes.
Yeah, it was abandoned. All those lines are abandoned through there because they went under the playground. So I imagine they did that when they built it.
Yeah. So I was surprised that the tot, I didn't realize the tots playground was going.
Can't get anywhere without those. No.
You didn't
Sorry.
know it was going to be replaced.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
Oh.
oh.
So what happened to the merry-go-round?
Who did that? Construction.
Beggars just took it away, recycled it.
Yeah,
or-
I'm not sure where they put it, but it's gone. Yeah. We can't,
From a city standpoint, the
Whatever.
liability.
yeah, once you pull it, you can't reuse
We
it.
can't.
Check eBay.
Give it or sell it to anybody.
Yeah, that's not the first time we got that question. And then, so that was week 1. Week 2, Monday, the new playground arrived and was dropped in the parking lot. There were 4 semi-truckloads of it. It's the biggest playground we've ever done. This playground's 1 semi-truckload, so think of this times 4. It's a big project. If you haven't seen it, there's a cool tree guy over there.
There's a
still
big
sitting in the
face,
parking
yeah.
lot. A big what?
Big face.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's the treehouse, the 2 to 5 year old tree section treehouse. So that actually stacks on top of each other somehow. That'll be entertaining. And Mark's been busy just sort of getting things organized, and then it's been a team effort of just shuttling the equipment over to the main site, because on Monday then the contractors arrive and we go full construction mode and raise the barn. So by Friday of next week, should pretty much have a playground in the ground, and maybe pouring concrete if we get lucky. We'll have it framed up and stabilized with lumber and everything plumb and attached, hopefully by Friday. And then the week following will be surfacing, and maybe hasn't hit the media 100%, but part of this is still wood chips.
Do you have the
Part of
media?
it is still, yeah, oh yeah.
Oops, sorry.
All you have to-
Sorry, Zoom.
all you have to do is go to Facebook and you'll see all the media. Anyway, the design is not all the artificial grass, right? It's designed where you can wheel around and access every part of the playground, but part of it you might have to climb from one bridge to the other, or that kind of thing. There's always transfer spots for kids to get to there if they need to. And of course, the wood chips are also handicap accessible by definition, even though in reality they're not as good as the other surfacing. So
Is there any
I
poured
think-
rubber?
it's all artificial grass, like a field. So
And
yes,
that's got the right, fall zone?
yeah, there's
So what's underneath the
a bunch of
artificial?
padding,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So there's gravel and then a bunch of padding, depending on the height of things,
Uh-huh.
and then the carpet over the top.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a preschool teacher, I liked the poured rubber.
Yeah, it's nice.
The wood chips were okay,
Yeah.
but we never had artificial grass. So.
Yeah, it's pretty new. The poured, that's called poured in place, the rubber.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the smooth rubber smelted sort of surface, or the rubber chunks?
The rubber chunks that are
Oh, okay.
like smush.
Yeah,
I
sure.
mean, but it still worked. It was good for fishing, you know.
Yeah.
And it didn't go away. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Wood chips,
Yeah, they float.
yeah, and they end up
Yeah.
other places than
Yeah.
underneath the swings.
Right,
So-
of course. Yeah, so anyway, we couldn't afford the entire thing, with the surfacing, with the grass. It's called Forever Lawn.
Ooh.
Very fancy name, but it'll still be accessible. So excited for that. Anyway, what else did I miss?
That's pretty much got it.
Yeah. Just a reminder, we're still taking signups for contractors and people that want to turn wrenches starting on Tuesday of next week. Tuesday's pretty full, so really Wednesday, but I'm gonna start pushing that out to, Chris will start pushing it out to emails and Facebook and whatever, that the certain days that we need extra help on. So if you know people that can turn a wrench, then look out for those emails.
If an individual came, bring basic hand tools, power tools,
Just gloves and water, everything will be on site.
everything.
There's a special wrench required to put this stuff together, so nobody has it. We bought like 40 of them, so we have it.
They're not that special.
They're pretty special.
Ooh, they're special.
They have a special punch in the middle to make them special.
Torx things or?
Yeah,
There's
sort of. They have
Just so
several-
people can't.
Security.
The
spaces.
security torx, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
They have a special button in the middle that makes them more secure.
And
Any
anybody
questions?
can use them. Like if I had an extra
Yeah,
hour or
of
two,
course.
I mean,
Yeah.
sorry, just checking.
You can also hey, go grab that piece and hold it for me while I turn the screw. There's gonna be a lot of that.
Okay, yeah.
Lots of clamps, lots of screwing, lots of holding things while somebody. Oh wait, look to the left. Wait, no, wait. A lot of that.
Okay. I don't know how much time I'll have, but
It's okay. Yeah, you can pop in anytime. We're going full board from 8 to 5 next week. 7 to 5, maybe something like that. 7 to 5.
7:30 to 4:30, I think.
Okay, old business bike park, Mr. Lerner.
We had a community meeting.
21st.
Yeah, which went really well. I think there were like 40 people about that showed up.
Nice.
Everyone who was there seemed pretty excited about it, and yeah, that's kind of where we're at now. We're wrapping up this phase of the travel organ program that we got into, and in June, I think we can apply for this $100,000 phase 2 grant put towards it. And that's where we're at.
Okay. So I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
Well, I was at the meeting, it
Yeah.
was like, there are two options.
Yeah, it was like Riverside or Pioneer.
Or
And
Pioneer.
It seems like Pioneer, or the hillside across from Pioneer, is what people are leaning towards, including Sue.
So with the, I mean, thinking bigger,
Yeah.
down on Riverside on the other side by the trail, there's land, and if you're gonna bike in anyways, you know, you could park at the, whatever that is, the south
Main.
parking lot and go in.
The chip pile.
Yeah, you might have to deal with that, but, so that's potentially, I mean, that's pretty big area over there.
We looked at, like, you're talking about where like the trail ends and there's
Mhm.
nothing there currently. We looked at that site with the contractor who Travel Oregon hired, who's the like expert, and he felt like that site was too small, and also that like high wind that blows through there is not ideal if you're gonna be like jumping a bike.
And there's the restrooms. Was
And
that
there's
one?
no, yeah, like the restroom would be a little bit further away.
So over here,
Yeah,
the topography is better?
I think the topography is, or the contractors I've talked to have all preferred this site to Riverside.
Do we own enough
We do own enough.
acreage?
Yeah, it's almost 3 acres of that
Okay.
hillside.
Cause every time we've looked into extending it, we've been
Yeah.
shut down. Yeah, okay.
And then, you know, in the master plan, the east side, we had talked about Willow. And maybe, has anything, like, actually develop a park with the bike park.
That'd be cool.
Has
Yeah.
anyone thought about that?
Nobody thought about that until you, John.
Yeah, it's the first time hearing of this.
Way to go.
But that's a big ticket item, and it's definitely part of the next kind of 5-year plan. We did talk about
Yeah,
developing the east side in terms of the dearth of parks over there.
yeah, especially if you're talking about 140 new homes,
That's right, I read that article, yeah.
so,
Wait, where is there space for 140 new homes that's not in my backyard? No.
between
Cove Avenue?
It's that
the
big
freeway
field
and
And
behind the
30.
livestock, right, kind of towards,
Like between
Pepsi.
like the Pepsi plant and the livestock.
yeah.
place.
And McAllister,
Highway 30.
McAllister would be
So
the
you haven't been
eastern
reading
border.
our media.
I have not.
And the city has a, I guess it's still probably tentative agreement to develop water and sewage, as a main trunk over there, which would make development over there possible. Because right now the holdup isn't necessarily the desire, it's just there's no infrastructure. It's a public-private company that does that kind of development is offering to step in. We are drifting away from the topic a little bit. So
But
does
we
any-
need, I think the thinking big, or not just limiting ourselves to two sides, I guess.
We can have 2 bike parks also.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
There's
yeah.
no reason we can't have more than one.
Hey, we
Is
hit a
it-
home run this time, there's no reason we can't have another home run with the next park,
Yeah.
the next cycle.
Is it too late to consider a different location then?
We can totally, I mean, I think we can change wherever, it's still early.
Is there a preference for a location like this one that has more elevation gain
Yeah.
versus Willow that's
That's
bit
why
flat?
this is, the contractors prefer this, cause it has a pretty gradual slope to it,
You can kind of build, you can
drawback to this site is the traffic jam with baseball.
Yeah.
So there would have to be additional parking built and infrastructure with sidewalks and things additionally
Yeah.
to make that work, because it wouldn't work the way it is. You could just build bike park and,
Has anyone communicated with is it the natural gardeners? people?
Gangwell.
Yeah,
no, not yet.
I could see
Native
some
Plant
resistance, native plant.
Well, but this is way downhill from the area that they're interested in.
It's true,
And-
it's a separate parcel, yeah. I wouldn't say way, but it's apart, yes.
But part of the master plan is to connect, so if any way we can connect those two parks, that's always been an idea.
Would be cool.
Yeah, I remember we talked about walkways and
Mhm.
so on,
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no more questions for Sean, let's move on to, new business. And, you see that we have, a proposal, I don't know whether it's a proposal, it's an info sheet from, Steve Antel,
Did you get, yeah.
about Morgan Lake. And, I had a chance to go over it, before the meeting, and it sounds like all of these things in and of themselves individually are relatively small, but if we put them all together, it becomes a little bit bigger, and it's gonna have to fit into the next budget cycle.
Or a different funder.
Or a different funder, yeah. So, I think that we can kind of say thank you to Steve for undertaking this. It gives us a plan or a way to move forward with it, but it's probably gonna be the end of summer before there's any action to be taken unless somebody comes up with a funding source sooner. Is that accurate? Pretty accurate, yeah.
It's really just informational.
Yeah,
It's nothing for, to make a decision on.
Yeah.
Steve and I have been working on the project, and he's done a lot of homework, and that's what you see in front of you.
So, actually, I just had one question. So there's these installed wired enclosures that is recommended to be done this summer. Do we have the funds to at least do that?
No.
No.
Summer means July, after July, because that's when the budget cycle starts over, so we don't have any money until June 30th.
Okay,
And
I
then-
just,
then we have
this
money again.
is a pretty dire statement. These trees will die if this is not immediately done. So-
Well, that's
That's
his opinion,
Steve's interpretation.
Oh, okay.
so I did a walkthrough up there with him, and, you know, some of those trees have been really brutalized and 2/3 girdled by, one presumes, teenagers with axes.
And in some ways, I say leave them. I mean, let them brutalize. Keep brutalizing those trees. You know, if we protect some, give them some to just brutalize.
Well, yeah, some of them, you could say that, but some of them are the only tree down by the lake, you know. So I think that protecting them is a worthwhile endeavor.
So there's also two separate things there. There's the enclosures, which are for the new,
Yes.
so building
Yeah.
sort of like 16 by 8 foot areas where we plant the new. And the other one that you're talking about is wrapping the trees with wire on the tree.
Right.
So when you hit it with an axe, it goes boing,
Yeah.
and you can't cut the tree. So there's two
Right.
separate things.
No, and so
We're
that's the
working.
second one that I was curious about.
Yeah. So that will happen this fall for sure. That's just a maintenance thing that we need to do
But it won't happen until July.
till after July.
So when does the park open again? Or is it open until?
April 22nd.
April 22nd. So.
Yeah.
So there could potentially be more brutalization happening between now and July.
There could, but also keep in mind this is brutalization over, these trees are big. This is over 20 plus, 30 plus years they've been beat on. So yes, I recognize they're sensitive areas, and once a tree's girdled, it's dead.
Yeah.
So that's why, but I don't think it's like dire as in we need to do it this week.
So it's
It's
not
been
like
going on for
teens are up there
years and
every
years and years.
weekend and chopping on the
No.
trees or something. Okay. I just was trying to understand the urgency of
Yeah.
doing this particular thing, so.
Yeah, two separate things. I think the one that's urgent is that, but it's not so urgent that we have to do it now.
Okay.
Summer meeting schedule. I believe this is our last meeting until summer, or is there one more?
Well, that's the agenda item in front of you. You can make
Ah,
a decision
We can make a decision. Okay.
by consensus,
Would be-
probably.
What do you guys usually do?
Punt.
I forgot what we usually do. Feeble brain here.
It would be, second Thursday would be at June 12th, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm fine with that.
And then no July, no August.
It's up to you. We normally don't meet in the summer, but that's why it's on your agenda.
I
Input,
won't be in
folks.
town in July typically, and so I'm fine with not doing July or August myself. So.
And I'll be gone from the end of June until the very beginning of August as well. But it shouldn't be dependent on the travel plans of individual commissioners. So
Well, I think that's exactly what it should be dependent on.
maybe it should be.
Because if nobody's here, then people who.
So it might be worthwhile having one in June because of
We can wrap the playground and,
wrap the playground
what else is
um,
happening in May, something else? Yeah, there's a couple of
and
big things.
champagne and
All the things.
all that good stuff. Okay, so I would propose that we have a meeting in June and then none until September.
And you can all nod your head for consensus, is that
Sure.
fine? Okay,
Okay,
Thumbs up.
all right. And staff reports.
So again, swim lessons in May were full, which is pretty awesome. We lost a few swim instructors, they're moving away, so that was kind of a bummer, but we're still on track. We've got a lifeguard class going right now, so Chloe and McKenna are co-teaching their new LGI certificates, so that's pretty cool. We can train them in-house now.
and
we have-
that's significant because when you're an lifeguard instructor, it means you can teach lifeguarding, right? Which we need constant lifeguards, so we have to have somebody on staff. It's also significant because other agencies can get certified here and we can charge them money for it.
And so last month we did our first adult swim. Soup Lady was super stoked.
Swim lesson.
Swim lesson, yeah.
Oh, I was thinking, what's adult swim?
Yeah.
Alcohol?
And anyway, she was so
Talk about
excited.
that.
Yeah.
She was so excited that she was spreading the word to anybody that'll listen to her. So she just thought it was the greatest thing in the world. And then I taught my first CPR class since I've been certified, and that went really well. So we've already had we got an email or a phone call the other day. Somebody wants to schedule one for a business to bring 4 or 5 people in. So I probably will have to wait till June since we have a playground going. But
Other duties, that's the sign.
yep. But other than that, we're good.
Me?
Yes, sir.
You're up.
After school program, still same as normal. That's just kind of been the year. It's actually been kind of nice. My staff have actually really enjoyed it. I feel like they've made better connections with the kids because there's only 18, 19, 20 of them per week. Just last night, a couple of my staff members at adult soccer were talking about, oh, so-and-so did this, and like, it was just nice. It's nice to hear that they're not like, oh my gosh, these kids kind of thing. So it's kind of nice. Pee Wee soccer ends this Saturday. 130 kids been playing out there every Saturday, and the weather's been great. They had one weekend where it kind of was a little cold and rainy, but other than that, it's been fantastic. So that wraps up. All our summer programming is up on our websites. I have radio ads running for the next month.
Nice.
One of those radio ads is for like our summer programming, and then one of those radio ads is for our summer events, which are also all up on the website. Our first one is kind of more of a EOU event that we kind of help partner with called Kick It Into Gear. I usually it's with the EOU, like Student Athletes Association Committee or something like that. It's called EOU SAC or something. And this year I asked, because we're trying to pick a date because graduation's kind of on a weird day and there's Memorial Day weekend, so we're doing it on May 31st. And I suggested we have it at Riverside because tentatively the playground will be done, so that would be kind of cool. So that's where it's at on May 31st. So Stu's got to get out there and get that playground done.
Is it gonna use the pavilion?
No, it's just kind of in the park. Usually we just have lawn games set up for the kids and activities and stuff. I also feel like that park's better suited for this event because there's the volleyball net, so there's a big open field, there's going to be a new playground. It's just easier, and basically it's just EOU student athletes playing with kids and doing games and stuff like that. So I feel like that's worked better than here. So that was another suggestion to move it anyways.
It just loses its rhyme, cause it's supposed to be Kick It Into Gear at Pioneer.
Yeah,
So
but they haven't said it as that or advertised it as that the last couple of
in
years.
5
so.
years.
The next big event is our 3rd annual Touch a Truck. That'll be June 21st. That happens down Adams Avenue. So I've already got police and fire involved. I've just now reading this realized I reached out to a bunch of people earlier this week and late last week that I haven't heard from them, so I need to go harass them again. But that event's super fun. It's super easy. It's one of my favorite events because I literally just set up detour signs and then people just park their trucks and kids have a blast. Jumping in trucks, honking horns, doing all that stuff. It's a good time. The last 2 years we've done it, I always end up getting a bunch of messages on our Facebook and things like that. Just, oh, thank you, my son loved this, or my daughter loved this, and it's like, this is the easiest event we do, so absolutely. So adult soccer started last night. We have 70 registrations. This says 69. I took one last late one because they suckered me.
Yeah.
But we had 70 registrations, but we technically have 69 people playing because one person got hurt. So that's also part of the reason why I took that extra registration. But we started Wednesday. We have 6 teams, only because there's a few people that are playing that can only play till the middle of June. So rather than making a 7th team and then having a bunch of people lose players, I was like, let's just make 6 teams that have a little extra players. The other nice part about that is it's nice. Then we probably won't have to worry about teams needing subs very often because everyone has a bunch of players.
My team last year, so many people got
Yeah.
hurt right at the beginning.
Yeah.
It was no fun.
Yeah, my team last night had 8 of us, so we had 2 subs, and one of them got hurt like right at the beginning of the second half. So that was fun. So we played with 1 sub the second half, but it was a good time. Everyone, it's always. I mean, I've been in this community a long time, and I've played soccer in this community a long time, so I know most of the people. But it's just a different vibe. I mean, adult basketball has come a long way in running it, but there's something about the soccer community is so nice. Like everyone's having a good time, everyone's joking with each other, and then we play, and then I don't have to tell them anything. They are always nice, always shaking hands, always, joking with each other. It's just a great atmosphere. Yeah, people really enjoy it. Kind of opposite of that, our adult softball registration is open. We did change that one to individual registration, and I feel like there maybe is a mutiny because there's only 4 people signed up, and there's like 3 weeks left. So
Oh no.
I'm not sure if people that are softballers just don't like that idea, or very often adults do wait till the very last minute. So that could be part of it. But we'll see. So Moonlight is open. I've had 2 teams register so far. Like we talked about, if we tried to run it last year, we only had 5 teams. It's not really worth running unless you get 10 or more teams, because the whole point of the tournament is Moonlight, that they play all night Friday, all night Saturday, and Sunday morning. And if you have anything less than 10 teams, they'll be done by Saturday afternoon. So it just kind of defeats the whole purpose, and it's also kind of a lot of effort to put into it for 5-6 teams. Just kind of makes no sense. So we'll see. I did change registration for that, so that way they have to call me, because last year we had a few teams register and pay in full, and then the tournament didn't happen, so that kind of throws off our budget a little bit when I have to refund people $400. So, they have to call me to register, and I don't make them pay, so that way then if it doesn't happen, it's sorry, it doesn't happen, so. But, yeah. Any questions about that?
What sport is the Moonlight?
It's co-ed softball, it's slow pitch
Oh.
softball, so, yep. That's been talked about too, if it doesn't work, maybe we still run a Moonlight tournament, just change it, or if adult softball, I've thrown out the idea of kickball, I think you'd get a lot more people interested in playing kickball, so.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sounds like things are, as always, going super well. Volunteer hours on part of any of the
Would you
committees?
skip the director?
Yeah.
We don't wanna hear from them.
Oh, I'm sorry, I blanked Stu.
It's okay, everything's in my report, so, there's two highlights, the intergovernmental agreement with the county to manage Riveria is happening, so Chris is managing Riveria now. If, people need to rent it or schedule it, we are the contacts for that.
Maybe give us like another month or two.
We're gonna collect all the fees and manage all that in our system, and we'll give the county all that except for 15%, which we'll keep for our troubles. And the other one is, the Senate approved me, so I'm on the Oregon Parks and Recreation Commission now. Pretty exciting.
Could you just fill me in on the Riveria thing? Are we renting it from the county? Is the county giving it to us? What's the deal?
Neither. We're just managing the parties. We're
Use-
managing the rentals.
The use of the
That's it.
facility.
We have a much more sound system, like we do with our pavilions, to manage rental of that facility. So it just makes more sense for us to manage that portion of it.
What does it go, what's rental fee for that?
So it depends. There's the kitchen, there's classroom, and there's the gym space. It's all hourly, and I wanna say kitchen, classroom, and gym are like $35 to $40 an hour. The kitchen's a little weird because you can rent the kitchen and just use the minimum, which is the fridge and the counter space, so that price is a little different than if you want the kitchen to use the appliances. And then that's hourly up until 6 hours. If you're gonna have it anything more than 6 hours, you have to rent it for the full day, which is like $150, $200, something like that. Very similar to like how our pavilions are. So
All that'll be available online eventually to book online. We're still building that out. It's kind of a surprise when Mark went to get the supplies. They were like, good, May 1st. Have
Yeah.
fun.
yeah,
We
we
did not know
kinda
that.
we were anticipating taking it over, but we were under the assumption we were gonna pick the day we got to take it over, and so when Mark came back with a bunch of keys and 2 big binders and a stack of papers,
Sounds
It
like
was
the
like-
county, man.
it
It
was like,
sounds
here you
like the
go,
county.
here's all
Well,
your
that
stuff.
was community connections, so it was like, I went to meet with them to figure out when we wanted to take over. And she was like, basically,
No.
oh, the county told us we had to be done by May 1st, and it was like,
So they were managing it as a residual of Head Start? when Head
Yeah,
Start
of
was there.
the Kids Club.
Kids Club.
Kids Club?
Yes,
Yeah, not-
that's correct.
Okay, I understand.
Our motivation is we need a facility for free. So we get it for free, we get it first, and we get to collect 15% of the fee.
Yeah.
That's our motivation.
We have a gym now. Technically, it's not like the nicest gym, but we have that gym space that we can utilize for free. And then, like Stu said, I mean, we don't need the kitchen or the classrooms per se, but
But like on a Sunday afternoon, it's cold outside,
Yeah.
I can go online, select gym, rent it for an hour.
You have to do it before Sunday though, because
Yeah.
there's nobody to give you a key Sunday, so you
Yeah.
can do it on Friday.
Okay.
Good to know. Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right. That does it for, Director report?
Anything on CHD? Or are you looking back?
What else would you want to know?
What, I mean, we're doing the shade canopies for the center.
Everything's been ordered, so we're just waiting for stuff to arrive. They're paying the bill, and we're gonna put them in.
Um,
Well, we are, but they're gonna hire a contractor to put them in.
Is there any way we can use some of their money for, to restore our drinking fountains?
I don't know.
Because part of their thing is,
Are we talking Bernie or Candy Cane now?
yeah, well,
All of them.
Both.
all
All-
of, anything
all
with
the
a drinking
above.
fountain that, you know,
It's a good idea.
I think, wasn't it?
Man,
Skate
you're on a
park
roll
one.
today.
I
Skate
get
park.
asked about that every time I'm there. There's kids who are like, I need water. Where do I get water?
It's a lesson
Yeah.
in humanity. Be prepared to where you go for your activities.
Mhm.
You explain that to the
I
punk kids who
I
climb
will.
over the fence from the
I will.
tracks.
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioners, any volunteer hours? Nobody has any volunteer hours to report. Good.
I saw a lot of people planting trees
Yeah,
on Saturday.
that was
It
cool.
wasn't me, cause I was busy, but there were obviously a lot of volunteers.
Including CHD. They paid their employees with that funding to plant trees.
We planted a lot of trees on Arbor Day too.
Yeah.
Is there any pending business that we haven't covered so far in our meeting? Nichts. Okay. Commissioner comments.
That's what John's count says, just for the record.
All my interruptions.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Can we get a sign that says where the sidewalk ends and put it right at, Bernie Park? Where the
Sorry,
new
yeah.
sidewalk ends?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why couldn't we extend,
I don't know why they did that. They didn't ask me.
they didn't
That was,
even ask, okay.
they was like, hey.
Cause
we can
that's our grant, isn't it? I mean,
make-" No, but it's related.
well, I mean, yeah, safe, was it part of safe?
It'd mess with that fence they've got there.
Yeah.
We just put that fence in not too long ago.
That's what I mean, is,
But nobody, they just did it. They're like, hey, we connected your park to the system. And I'm like, oh, I went out there and I was like,
no,
It was
you
close, we got to the park, but not,
I mean, officially
not
you
through
did.
the park.
didn't. Yeah.
I don't know what the vision was there.
So I went to Bernie the other day for the first time in quite a while, and I was really impressed by the little marsh area and the
Yeah.
boulders, and
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
really nice.
we've always, that's a great little play area.
Yeah, but it used to be just kind of a
Mess.
swamp with a bunch of
Oh.
garbage and stuff dumped in it.
Well,
And
it's kind of a natural, I mean,
It is.
walking across and jumping on the rocks,
Yeah.
That tree came off the Morgan Lake Dam, so we repurposed it and put it there for on purpose to play on. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool.
It's a really nice spot with that little, there's a kind of a roost above it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can really see that.
Yeah,
Great, good spot.
and the
But it's a
story
trophy.
walk, did you do the story walk?
I've done the story with my little boy,
It
when he was
changes.
a little boy. Before he became a monster.
Speak up.
Okay. Seriously, any other commissioner comments? We're all good? And we're gonna adjourn our meeting. This has, been a really productive meeting. The only thing that I could emphasize is the optimist's request to be somehow in a loop. And I don't know what we can do to formalize that or CC them on some lists or something like that.
Yeah.
It's kinda on them in some ways because really they have the same access to the website that everybody else does. But they really do us a huge service.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Great
so that
partners.
will-